Hello and welcome to our lecture on how to create a digital public relations campaign. Welcome to the first lecture of our focus on how to create a digital public relations campaign. My name is Kelsey Stewart. I'll be your journalism instructor. In this lecture, we're going to go over the steps needed to create a digital public relations campaign for a company, product launch, or event. In the following lectures, we will go over into more in-depth processes. This first lecture is pulled from a variety of digital PR sources that are all listed on the last page. All right, so let's talk about the steps to release a digital public relations campaign. A PR campaign is a specific effort to accomplish a clear, measurable goal through strategic messaging to the audience. The objective could be raising awareness of the brand to a new audience, increasing sales for a product or service, or even driving attendance to an event. It just kind of depends what your focus is and what your goals are. The PR campaigns will go beyond daily PR activities and tactics. For example, campaigns are more than just responding to current events. Media outreach based on editorial calendars and tracking social media interactions. This is something, a PR campaign is a specific goal that's going to be outlined, that's going to be away from kind of your standard day-to-day. Okay, so some of the steps that we're going to talk about are: one, we're going to outline the goal, determine the budget, perform market research, we're going to determine our audience, we're going to create the content, launch the campaign, and then we're going to review our analytics. So step one, let's outline these goals. They are going to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And these are not just happy placement words. These are words that actually matter to your goals. If your goal is too crazy and out there and it's not specific, it's not going to happen. So before you start with your campaign, you want to take some time to assess what your main marketing goal or goals are for your company, business, or product launch. The goal could be to add 100 more views to your news stories, increase ad awareness, or sell 10% more product. You have to make sure that the goal is attainable and given, this is huge, given measurable time that works for you to actually get this goal and make it happen. You are not going to tell yourself that you're going to get a six-pack in a week. Right? That's just unattainable. It's not feasible. So you want to make sure that the goal that you're giving yourself is something that's realistic, that will get done. I would recommend a year goal. So step two, we're going to talk about determining the budget. So here we have an image that kind of gives an idea of how many different options there are for marketing categories as far as budget-wise. TV and radio is still a thing, not as often, but it is still a thing. So is email marketing, print advertising. They still exist. It's not as common as before, but there's lots of different options for marketing. Again, all of these options will depend on your budget. For example, the average cost of outsourcing a social media advertising campaign is anywhere from $450 to $6,000 per month. Monthly ad spends range from $200 to $50,000 or more. Again, this depends if you are a small town business or a giant company. So it just kind of depends. Your cost for advertising will depend on your business size, strategy, and budget. Again, if most of you are going to be doing this from home and you're working on your own professional enhancement, then we're going to probably be doing this on our own, and we'll get into how we do that. Just a side note: types of budgeting or types of paid for digital advertising are CPMs, which is the price for 1,000 ad impressions, and cost per click, which is the price for each engagement with your ad. And we'll talk about this because where these ads are all factors that will get us into things like keyword research, ad placement, networking, and marketing strategies. We will talk about this a little bit later. But once we determine our budget, we're going to make sure that we get into perform our market research. So once you determine your product or service and its benefits and features in detail, then you're going to figure out what your competition looks like. That's going to be huge because if there has to be someone else that has done what you're trying to do. There will always be someone else out there doing what you're trying to do. There's going to be always competitors. Your goal is to thoroughly know your competitor and see what ways that your product or your company or your goal, your overall like campaign goal, how is that going to offer something different to possibly the same audience in a newer, cleaner, or just more options, different way. how will your campaign enhance whatever your competition has? So you need to look at market dynamics. So look at the patterns of your competitors. Are they releasing things seasonally? If you're trying to publish a book, when do authors normally release their second book or their first book? What are the months that are the top readers in regards to book releases? Look at products. What's currently available? What is your competition selling? If you're going to be releasing a new book, what are the titles looking like right now? How are they using a title versus the author's name on placements? Look at graphic design. What are the branding images that people are receiving right now? What do you see on your own social media? Put into perspective the benchmarks in the industry. So if we're thinking about gyms and they took a huge hit with COVID, what is the trend now? Home gyms are huge. So how are gyms making money? Majority of them have apps with monthly memberships, right? So that's kind of a benchmark in the industry. I have a gym that I love going to for kickboxing, but I actually have to subscribe to it with a certain channel that I pay a monthly for, and then I can get the same instructors and still do the same workouts from home. That's a benchmark in the industry because it's still trying to keep the business afloat, but it's also offering a paid for option. So they're still meeting, not a paid for option, they're offering a at home option. So they're still meeting the needs of what the environment is going through right now and your culture and your limitations at the stay at home orders, but they're still trying to do the business as they've been doing it. What are potential vendors and partners that you will need to rely on with that? Well, there's going to obviously be a middleman that is going to be releasing those ads and managing those monthly subscriptions. Those are people that you're going to want to be outsourcing to, but also networking with. You also want to think of potential vendors in regards to home workout equipment, if that's the job that you're looking to do, or if you're a online publisher, you want to create potential partners with graphic designers or online readers or just companies that are online publishers. So depending on what you're doing, what your goal is, what your product or what your plan is, those are the benchmarks you need to be watching for the competitors. You also need to be watching for potential vendors and partners. Okay, so who is this campaign going to reach? What is your age focus? And what are their interests in content and social media? Again, let's go back to the at-home gym workout kind of idea. So say I like to go to kickboxing classes, and that's something that I really missed when COVID happened because all the gyms shut down. So how was I able to make that happen during COVID? Well, the gyms again started offering different ways to kind of still be involved with the classes. It wasn't just your online YouTube of free classes. They gave you live classes that you had to make at a certain time of day, and you were actually almost zooming into the class like it was a course. So it made people still stick to their schedule. It made people join, so it almost made it like a live area of working out, even though everyone was coming from different locations. But that would be something who would you want to reach with this campaign? So if that's your audience, people that are driven for working out, people that like to read certain types of books, people that are into certain types of music's releasing, people that are looking at certain type of writers that they want to use. If you're a freelance writer and you want to help enhance that growth, what is your audience? Who are you reaching? Who do you want to either purchase your services? Who do you want to purchase your subscriptions? What is your product going to be doing? Who's going to be using your product? You want to figure out who you need, basically. Who do you need to support your idea? And these will be people that you have to figure out all they do. What do they do on social media? Not just who they follow, what do they comment about? What is the chat room talking about? What is the age group that you think you will be reaching? You have to figure that out on your own too, through research. Figure out who you think is going to use your product or be receptive to your campaign, and do as much as you can in regards to researching what they're all about. You want to make sure that when you're building, we're going to call it a persona. So when you're building your marketing persona, that you describe your ideal customer in terms of age, gender, family composition, earnings, likes, dislikes, their lifestyle, purchasing patterns, buying options, hobbies. What does your ideal marketing persona looks like? Then you want to test that assumption. So there's a couple ways that we're going to go into testing, and we will get into this. But one way is to do in-person or online focus groups if you have a budget. If you don't, we can do customer surveys or quizzes targeted at your followers on social media. Who is responding to these? So say you do a poll on your Instagram account just to kind of, hey, would you be interested in this? Is this something that you would want? What is the response? How fast are you getting responses? What type of people are responding the fastest and the most enthusiastically? That's going to be your marketing persona.